Welcome to week one of Vikings Report Rewind. Drew's on his way. Right now with me is my partner in crime on Vikings Report Rewind, Christopher Gates. Chris, let's talk about week one, shall we?
I think we shall. That was fun.
That was awesome.
There's really no other way to describe it. This was fun to watch.
Drewster, you there? Drew.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Look, we're on the air.
We are live. We are live. Thanks for being late, but we're okay. We're fine. Look, Vikings win 23-7. They go to 1-0 in the Kevin O'Connell era.
Yeah.
And boys, I got to tell you, there were some things I saw in this game from the Minnesota Vikings that I have not seen in a few years. Chris, what were you? Just give me your initial impression of this football game. Just kind of 20,000 foot view.
I mean, the Vikings offense was kind of everything we expected. They got off to a fast start on the first drive, culminating with the first Justin Jefferson touchdown catch, which was awesome. And they didn't really take their foot off the gas offensively for most of the game. I mean, that was refreshing after the last couple of years. It was quite the different thing to witness.
Drew, one of the things we talked about in our preview.
Hey guys, good to be here.
It's awesome. First of all, everybody who's in the chat room, we got a whole bunch of people in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. We're going to give away a prize. Hell, I'm in such a good mood. We might give away two prizes.
Oh, Ted's feeling it tonight. What up, dudes?
Drew, one of the things we talked about in our pregame show was the absolutely slow starts in big games that the Minnesota Vikings have had littered throughout the Mike Zimmer era.
Mm-hmm.
It may happen during the Kevin O'Connell era, but brother, it did not happen today.
No, they were ready to play. They were ready to play on both sides of the ball. Came out firing. How about that? What a win!
That was awesome.
Hey, Tom!
And
wipe your tears with it, Tom. Get Tom in here. I want to talk to that guy. Yes.
And,
it was a fast start. Good start, Ted. That's the way they need to start football games. Not standing around sleepwalking through the game. Get into it right away.
And Chris, go ahead.
I'd just like to take a minute to point out that for the first time since January 11th, 2020, the Minnesota Vikings are above 500.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, oh boy!
When's the last time they shut out the Packers in the first half? I mean, that's got to be years ago, right?
It's been a while.
They shut them out completely in the game at Lambeau in 2017, but that's Rodgers didn't play that game and whatnot, so there's an excuse there. But yeah, this is the lowest point total they've ever held an Aaron Rodgers team to, I believe, by a lot. I
don't think Aaron Rodgers threw a touchdown pass. The only touchdown Green Bay scored was that either Corey Dillon or Aaron Jones run in the third quarter, whatever it was.
And he was angry and he was frustrated. He was picking his ass up off the turf after we laid the wood to him.
Matt LaFleur was pissed off and angry.
Oh, cram it up your cram hole, LaFleur. The Vikings came to play today, and I already know what ESAT Nation and Packer Nation is saying. We get the ball in at the 1, and Christian Watson holds the ball. We're tied. That's where of it. I know it's bullshit, but that's where it's going to happen, Ted. That's what's going to happen. All
right. Let's roll through this game. The very first opening drive, Vikings go 10 plays, 78 yards. They get the ball. They didn't kick. They took the ball and they went right down the field, shoved it down Green Bay's throat. And I'll tell you what, when it was 4th and goal I think it was either 4th and goal or 4th and 1 on the 5.
Right.
I'm just going to say, I don't know that in the opening game of the year, previous Minnesota Vikings coaches who shall not be named, because we're not looking back, we're looking ahead, would have gone for it right there. I think the safe play there was to take the points. Kevin O'Connell draws up a beautiful play. Justin Jefferson is more wide open than Linda Lovelace in her prime, and the Vikings are on the board, man.
That's pretty open.
That's way open. Wow.
Linda Lovelace makes the show in the first 5 minutes. We are rolling.
We are 5 minutes in and we are off the rails.
Did you guys see? First of all, did you see that opening offensive drive developing the way it did? And then did you think the Vikings would go for the touchdown on the very opening drive of the year, Chris?
I'm not sure if I saw the drive materializing the way it did. I mean, it was awesome to watch. I mean, Justin Jefferson catching passes with no defender within 10 yards of him. But I have to say that when it got to be 4th and 1 on the 5, I thought O'Connell was going to go for it just to make that statement. Was just basically the opposite of everything you were just saying. Like, coaches previously probably would have just trotted Greg Joseph out there and taken the short field goal and taken the points. And Kevin O'Connell said, "No, to hell with it. You can't stop us. We're gonna throw the ball to Justin Jefferson again." Okay,
Drew. Before I get to you, we got over 200 people in the room right now watching.
Thank you so much for joining us. How are they feeling tonight?
There's a lot of shiny, happy people in the live chat right now.
Let's hear it. Give me a couple comments from those people in the chat, Ted. You know I like hearing from the people in the chat room.
Before we do, I want everybody to know that's watching us right now. All you have to do is just say, "Hey," just make any kind of comment whatsoever. Just enter. Hello, Skull Vikes. I hate the Packers. Whatever it is you want to say it. And you're entered to win a prize. We're going to draw for a prize at the end of the show when we're done here. Ruby has the magic wheel of destiny or the wheel of Toonses, whatever it is we're calling it. I don't know. I don't care. Vikings, you want to know. Doesn't matter. But somebody's getting a prize. We may get 2 prizes. I don't know. We'll see. But you'll be eligible. So just make a comment in the live chat. Just say hello to everybody, and you'll be entered to win. That's all you got to do. Drew, give me your thoughts on that opening drive and what you want to think of, and what you think about whether or not the Vikings would have done what they did on this opening drive in the past.
First off, whenever your football team gets their first drive of the game, they drive it down and get a touchdown, you got to get wood from that. I thought the play selection was a good mixture of plays on that. They looked very confident. Cousins looked very confident. The plays they were calling, they looked like they had worked on those ones. But when they got down there, I actually thought he was going to kick it. And this is a good sign. This is a good sign for Vikings fans wondering about what O'Connell's like. Most first-year guys, rookie head coaches in that situation against Green Bay, who's a good team, they take the points right there. And I thought he was going to, and he didn't. And that's a great sign for us, which means he's not scared already. That's his first game, and he's not scared. That's a great sign. So, what a great call by him. That kind of set the tone right there.
And it was a great call because Justin Jefferson was just all alone in the end zone. I mean, if I'm Green Bay, I'm going to try and put a guy on Justin Jefferson to cover him. But if they don't want to do it, and they didn't all day, I mean, he was running free in the Packers secondary. Chris, I don't know if you can pull up the stats. What was his final stat line? He had a huge
nine for 184 and 2 touchdowns.
Ted, what was Green Bay's game plan with Justin Jefferson going, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. Let him run free, and then when he catches it, I want you to tackle him. And what kind of a game plan did they have on him, Chris? Ted?
That's a great strategy, actually.
I thought it was funny on the second touchdown catch, the longer one, the 36-yarder. He caught it, and there's nobody within like 15 yards of him. No. And he actually went backwards like a yard or two first because it was like he was expecting someone to be there, and there was nobody there.
And you'd expect that with Osborne or Thielen, Chris, but you don't expect that with Justin Jefferson being that. And if anybody's going to not be open, it's going to be him, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It was wild. And then, and then, Drew, you mentioned this already, ESAT Nation. The very first play after the Vikings score, go up 7-0 after that opening drive. The very first play, Christian Watson is wide open. Patrick Peterson, I think, tripped or lost his footing, and Watson had Patrick Peterson beat by a good 10 yards, and he just flat out dropped.
Rodgers was not happy about that.
No, he was not.
Pissed.
Hey, I got a question.
Okay.
I want to ask you.
Back up, Ted. Did you think they were going to kick the field goal or go for it on that opening drive?
I wanted them to go for it. I was 50-50 on that. I thought being a first-year guy wanting to establish, get points out of that drive, that he very well could go for a field goal. I'm glad he didn't, but it would not have surprised me if he had.
Okay.
And hey, do you guys remember when the Vikings traded their second round pick to Green Bay for their 2 second round picks in the draft. And everybody said, and then the Green Bay drafted, here, let me check my notes. They drafted Christian Watson. And everybody said Christian Watson is going to burn the Vikings forever.
Oh,
maybe not. No, maybe he's not going to.
Dude, that guy not only dropped a pass, Chris, he dropped a touchdown.
Nobody was going to catch him, I don't think. No.
But you know what? Not. We never get the breaks. So it's about damn time we get a break. So, you know what, Packer Nation?
I was just getting ready to say what we saw in that first sequence with the Vikings going down the field scoring and then Christian Watson dropping that wide open pass. Reverse that, Green Bay going down and scoring, and then a Vikings receiver dropping a wide open pass. That's what usually happens in these kind of games.
Right.
And that sort of told me things might be a little bit different today. I don't know.
Great point. That's a great point.
So like things kind of, after that first wave, things kind of settled down. And then Green Bay got a little bit of momentum and they drove down the field and they got down to the 1 yard line and the Ed Donatel defense showed up in a big way with the goal line stand.
I think we mentioned turning points. You mentioned turning points earlier and whatnot. I think one of the big turning points actually happened before the game when the inactive list came out and everyone saw that David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins were both inactive because, when you lose your 2 starting offensive tackles and you have to go with backups against a couple of guys like Zadarius Smith and Daniil Hunter, that's bad juju for your offense. And it was Smith that shut down that 4th and 1 play at the goal line. And he was a problem for Green Bay all afternoon.
Yeah, he totally duped Rodgers on that play, Ted. He got Rodgers thinking it was a zone, and it wasn't. And that part of the bringing over a Packer guy, he fooled him. He knew what Aaron Rodgers was going to be thinking on that play.
So, do you think Rodgers checked from a pass into a run that ended up getting stuffed? On
yes,
that?
I think so.
Okay,
I think he 100% did. He 100% did.
Okay, all right. Well, and so and the thing with me from there, it was like, so what do the Vikings do now? They hold Green Bay, and now how often in the past would the Vikings get like a gift like this, a momentum or whatever, and then not be able to do anything?
Right.
Not get a first down and just be content to get 6 or 7 yards to give the punter enough for him to punt the ball. I mean, I'm being serious here. But the Vikings,
totally what it was like every game, man.
Yeah, and then but the Vikings, to their credit and to Kevin O'Connell, they drive the length of the field. I don't know off the top of my head what the length of that drive was, but it ended in a Greg Joseph field goal, so you go from a 7-0 lead to holding the Packers on 4th and goal at the 1 to driving back down and getting points out of that. I thought that was a huge moment in the game for the Vikings.
That was an 89-yard drive.
89 yards.
So and that one should have ended in a touchdown too if Justin Jefferson could have gotten his second foot down on that 3rd down pass into the end zone, but he was just short. And no, but yeah, marching at 89 yards after you give up a long drive like that, that's like you said, past Vikings team probably would have just kind of turtled up at that point, but they didn't.
Drew, so after the goal line stand, did you expect the Vikings to go down and get points out of that drive?
No, I
expected
them to do what you said, get a little breathing room and then punt the ball because they're not aggressive all the way up till now. It's a different team that we saw today. Every time I thought they were going to do the norm, the Zimmer norm, they didn't. They went the other way with the thing. I just thought the overall play calling was better, and I think O'Connell calling the plays is a huge advantage because he has a feel for the game. Sure, he had some bad calls, some questionable calls, some really mellow kind of calls, kind of a feel out stage. But when we really needed the drives, the dagger drive at the end, that's when he came through with some great play calling, and that was a big moment in the game. Driving it, not just punting the ball back. You can punt it back. You're not gaining momentum. You're not taking the momentum back. The whole idea of football, it's like hockey. Other team has a momentum. Your main goal is to steal the momentum back. And that's something the Vikings didn't let. The Packers started gaining momentum today 2 or 3 times, and O'Connell stole it back from them. And that was one of the moments when they drove that And you know what? People can say, well, the Packers left points on the board with the Christian drop, Watson drop, and the not scoring at the 1-10. But we also left points on the board by going for field goals down there. So you can look at it either way. We could have scored touchdowns, could have been in the 40s.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree. And so the Vikings get points. The Packers get the ball back, and they battered Aaron Rodgers. I can't remember if it was the interception or the fumble after that play. I think it was the interception. It was a pretty deep throw. Harrison Smith picked it off. And then Chris, you talked about the big long touchdown to Justin Jefferson to put the Vikings up 17-0 going into halftime. I thought that entire sequence right there was something we didn't see from the Minnesota Vikings probably since 2017, maybe.
No, definitely not. I mean, we talked about leading into this one in some of our previous episodes about how quickly the defense was going to be able to get the hang of the new scheme and whatnot. And I'm sure the Packers having both those offensive tackles missing helped a little bit, but that Donatel defense looked like it had a little something different going for it than what we've seen over the past couple of years. I mean, having Smith and Hunter healthy is huge. I thought Harrison Phillips did a solid job out there today. Dalvin Tomlinson was causing problems for people. And I mean, the defense was solid. We're going to have to see what they do in Philadelphia next week and see if we can get more of a trend out of this. But yeah, that was a pretty solid performance, I thought.
And so going into halftime, I don't know if you guys were watching.
Come on. Who was happy with that? Who was waiting for the comeback?
Well, let's talk as they went into the locker room. Aaron Rodgers, like you said, was pissed off. Matt LaFleur was pissed off. They were you saw Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson carpeting each other, kind of like Thielen and Cousins were in 2018 at the end of the season.
Right.
I mean, the Bears were just not in sync. They had the Minnesota Vikings had the Green Bay Packers completely confused and frustrated. And I don't think I have seen that dynamic in since before Mike Zimmer and for all the good, and Mike Zimmer generally did a very good job of preparing against Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay for the most part.
Right.
But I don't think I ever saw them as frustrated as I did at halftime against the Vikings today.
No,
how about LaFleur throwing his team under the bus? How many times you seen that at halftime?
I didn't even see what he said.
Our team's not playing with any heart. I mean, that's
really
that's a lot different than saying we're not running the ball right or we're not doing this right. When you're saying, he specifically said, I think he said, Chris, that we're not have the effort. Our guys aren't playing with the effort or the heart to get it done, and that is I've never seen him. I never heard him say that before about his team.
And you damn sure don't want to hear that in week one, because
right.
You've had a whole off season to get ready for this, and you come out and half-ass it. No, that's. I mean, it's good for us because I don't care if Green Bay sucks, but it's bad.
Ted's
for them.
Right. We had them out of sorts, Ted. We did.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
We did. Now, before we get to the second half, I want to say real quick, we got over 500 people watching. Thank you so much for joining us. Just enter a comment in the live chat here, and you're entered to win a prize. Ruby's going to spin a wheel at the end, and she's registering everybody's name to be able to win a prize at the end of the show. So just say, hey, just say Skull Vikes, just say something, and you're entered to win. So
Tom Grossies is now. Just get him. Get him. I'm not going to tell you again. Go find him and get him the hell in this chat. Okay. Tom, this is for you. I'm going to put my napkin in here because we're going to eat the second half here.
So the second half, the Packers get the ball, start the second half. And Drew, you mentioned, a 17-0 lead is never comfortable if you're a Vikings fan. Never is, never has been, never will be. But the Packers get the ball and they absolutely smoke Aaron Rodgers, force a fumble, and get the ball. Me personally, I loved it, but I didn't really see that coming. Did you guys?
No.
I mean,
no.
Moving on.
No, I was waiting for him to do the Zimmer thing, get the ball, drive down. It's 20-7.
Yeah.
Maybe run 1 minute off the clock, and we're all going
out. Yeah, 3 and out.
Then we get the 3 and out. That's 20-14. Yep. 3 and out, 21-20. all right, things are on pace. I didn't expect that. I did have a moment of when they drove the field, were killing us on the run and made it 20-7. I kind of was going, oh shit, here comes the meltdown. But that's just me being a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
No, I think a lot of us had that because they obviously didn't do anything offensively the first half, but they came out and they decided, well, maybe we gotta hand the ball to Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon a few times, and
defense is sad, guys.
They pretty much put the Vikings on skates on that drive.
What is wrong with the run defense? Can we go over that real fast? I mean,
what did the Packers? Do you have the stats in front of you, Chris?
I got them. Hold on.
What did the Packers average per carry, and what was their total rushing numbers today?
So let's see. We've got 18 carries for
111.
Let's see. 18 for 111.
6.2 on the ground.
They were killing the Vikings in the run game, and it was
So after that turnover, they forced Aaron Rodgers to fumble, and he looked like he got hurt.
He's a baby, faking it. Goddamn baby, stupid
Vikings.
Mushroom head.
The Vikings get a field goal, and I thought to myself, I really wish they would have gotten a touchdown there. Drew, that's when you texted me. I don't know if you remember. You texted me and said, "I'm feeling uncomfortable about this."
Yeah.
And then Green Bay, and I said, well, let's see what happens. And then Green Bay goes down and scores a touchdown.
Oh boy.
And it's 20-7. And you get that little, as a Vikings fan, you know the feeling that, here we go feeling.
Yeah.
Oh no, here we go.
We all know that feeling.
And I was fully expecting at that moment after the Packers drove down I believe it was Aaron Jones that scored, or maybe it was Corey Dillon. It was 20-7. And I thought if the Vikings go 3 and out here, it's going to be a bad deal. But they didn't. They ate. Let's see. They got the ball back.
6 and out. It was a 6 and out, I think.
Yeah, they got a first down. And they killed a little bit of clock, and then they were able to punt the ball away. They kind of flipped the field position, gave the ball back to Green Bay. And then they had 2 big sacks from DJ Wanham and Danielle Hunter. And so I kind of thought, hey, this might be a little bit different this year than in years past. And when both Wanham and Hunter got those sacks, it felt to me like, okay, I think I can breathe a little bit easier. Were you guys breathing easy at that point, or were you just still, I don't know.
I mean, I think it helped a little bit. I mean, you obviously want to keep the momentum as best you can. It kind of felt like the momentum was shifting toward Green Bay at that point. But Hunter got the big quarterback sack, and then Wanham picked up one after that and kind of squelched that, and got Minnesota the football back. And there wasn't really a heck of a lot of scoring after the Dillon touchdown. The only points that came after that was Joseph's last field goal halfway through the fourth quarter. So that pretty much ended the scoring. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of offense to be had after that.
So, go ahead, Drew.
I was just going to say, what kind of felt differently? What felt differently? I mean, remember we had the sack and made it 2nd and 19. We're feeling good. And then they had the blown coverage, got like a 25-yard pass.
Yes.
And that's something that we all, it's a Viking special. We're all used to it.
Here we go.
I think, here we go. And I think the difference is, guys, today, at least for one game, the difference I'm seeing with O'Connell is in the past, when Aaron Rodgers and the Packers get that momentum, it's like a big rolling rock down a hill you can't stop. And every time they got a little bit of taste of momentum, the Vikings found a way to make one play to end that momentum. That's something that we haven't seen a lot. Usually when the momentum starts rolling against us, it rolls over us.
Yes.
That felt different to me, guys. It did.
When the Vikings got that second Jefferson touchdown to make it 17-0, and I think it was the Packers got the ball back after that. I can't remember how much time was on the clock, but kind of started flashing back to last year a little bit and how disastrous the defense was in the last 2 minutes of each half. The last 2 minutes were, and we figured. I mean, I was kind of thinking in the back of my head that Rodgers still has time left. I thought they still had timeouts, but maybe they didn't. But he kind of threw up a YOLO ball and Harrison Smith came down with it, and we went into the locker room, and
the old YOLO ball.
Yeah, we didn't get the same thing that we got last year.
So here's the thing: the Vikings, Chris, you mentioned that fourth quarter field goal. Vikings kick a field goal with 6:48 left. It's 23-7. And it feels like the Vikings have the game kind of in hand, but it's not over yet.
Right.
It was up to the defense, and what they managed to do was Green Bay drove the field. They got into the red zone, but they forced Green Bay to use a little bit over 3 minutes, and they had a 4th and goal. Well, they had a 4th and 1, and Aaron Rodgers, I thought, made a very questionable throw into the end zone, broken up by Eric Kendricks and I think Harrison Smith, and the Vikings took over. And I thought that was when that happened, it was pretty much over, but the Vikings still had to play their 4-minute offense to end the game. When did you guys start feeling comfortable that, hey, they're going to do this thing, Drew?
When I felt comfortable, when I was watching that drive that you mentioned just now, Green Bay's driving, Aaron Rodgers is using the whole play clock. And I'm going, I don't know if anybody, you guys notice that? I mean, it's 14, 13, 12. He's running it down to like 3 seconds, and I'm going, and they show the camera switches to LaFleur, and you can see his mouth going, what is he doing? So it's all discombobulated for the, I mean, what is Rodgers doing? He needs 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions.
Yeah.
And he's running that play clock. I was laughing, going, they should be they got up at the line with like 27 seconds, and he was snapping it with like 8 seconds. And I'm going, what is wrong? Like Rodgers was saying, oh, the game's over. I don't care what the coach says. I'm just going to do it my way.
See, I wonder.
Seemed weird to me. It seemed really weird to me.
I wonder how much of that has to do with, his wide receivers not being as experienced and whatnot, not really knowing all those nuances like some of his other more experienced receivers might have. But yeah, I mean, if they want to take 30 seconds to move down the field 5 yards at a time, we can let them do that all day. That's fine. I don't care.
There was a 2-play sequence on that Packers first drive that I think threw them off for pretty much the rest of the day. Aaron Rodgers has always had a safety blanket at wide receiver, whether it's Driver, whether it's Jordy Nelson, whether it's Devontae Adams. He's just has always had a guy he could go to when he absolutely had to get a first down, make a big play, get some chunk yards, whatever. That very first play of the game, we talked about Christian Watson dropped that wide open pass. I think it was 3rd down. It looked like there was a miscommunication. Romeo Doubs, I believe it was, went inside. Rodgers expected him to stay outside or cut to the sideline, and he threw outside, and the pass was off by like 7-8 yards.
Sure.
And the Packers had to throw. And I kind of think that set the tone for Aaron Rodgers being an absolute chode to his receivers for the rest of the game. because there was not one time I don't think he felt comfortable with any one of the guys he was throwing to, other than maybe Randall Cobb. And Randall Cobb is washed. And Cobb had 2 catches. Sammy Watkins, I think I heard Sammy Watkins' name called once today.
Rather have text Cobb out there.
I think I referred to him on social media as the fossilized husk of Randall Cobb. That's essentially what he is at this point. He's been in the NFL for like 30 years or something.
Yeah.
Packers can play it up all they want. They got serious problems at wideout. And this game showed it. What about, you guys catch that clip on the sideline when Rodgers is like bitching and moaning, yelling at somebody?
Yes.
Goes down. I was looking at Ruby. I'm going, oh man, we're in their head now. Because LaFleur's mad. He's mad. Everybody's mad except us.
Now Ryan Gillen in the chat room said, but his running backs didn't drop a thing. And okay, that's fair. But if you're being forced to check down to your running backs and settle for 7 or 8 yards, and you can't really get anything going with your wide receivers, I believe that's something that Ed Donatel would take every single day.
I want to ask you guys this, because this is a weird thing. This is a weird thing. And we talk about weird things on this show, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I was watching a Packer game going, please pass the ball and not run it. Because they were killing us with the run. I'm thinking, and usually it's the other way around. Usually you want Green Bay to run the ball to keep it out of Rodgers getting in rhythm and getting back in the pocket and getting rhythm and killing you with the pass. But in this game, they were killing us with the run, Ted. So I'm going, please make them pass. And that was a complete different way that I felt about. Usually I watch these games. It's all about making Rodgers hand the ball off.
Yeah.
They were killing us on the run, 29 yards, 12 yards, 10 yards. They were just gashing us on the run defense.
On the last after, so we talked a little bit. Let's kind of wrap this game up a little bit. Rodgers throws in the end zone. The Vikings get the ball. There's like 3:45 left, just under 4 minutes. Traditional 4-minute drive, kill the clock, end the game, get out of there with a win. How many times in the past have the Vikings gone 3 and out, given the ball up with like 3 minutes left?
Yep.
Packers would have gone down and scored, made a 2-point conversion, and now it's a 1-score game with over 2 minutes left, and now the pucker factor is getting high. I wrote down the first 4 plays, I think it was, that the Vikings, and they ran the ball. 14 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, and 6 yards. And I wrote impose their will. The Vikings rarely did that as a running off, which is surprising me as a running offense. The Vikings rarely did that with a run-centric offense at the end of the game with a chance to clinch it. They couldn't for whatever reason, and today they pretty much did. Now, they didn't go down and score, but I think by the time they punted, there was less than a minute left in the game. It pretty much ended the game. So the offense did what they had to do at the end of the game to clinch the win. And I was very impressed with that final sequence.
No, absolutely. I mean, like you said, we've seen too many times in the past where, if the Vikings just pick up a first down, they can run out the clock and the game's over and blah, blah, blah. They haven't been able to do it. If you think back to like the Seattle game in 2020 where they needed 1 yard and they couldn't get 1 yard and Seattle went down and scored again. But no, it was nice to see that. I mean, Dalvin Cook didn't really get a lot of big plays today. I mean, they were focused on the passing game, it seemed like, more than the run game. I think Dalvin Cook wound up with 80 some odd yards when it was all said and done, but I think a lot of that came at the end of the game when they were trying to run clock, like you said. But it was nice to be able to see Cook and Madison even kind of grind it out at the end and take most of the rest of the time off the clock.
All right, Drew, you mentioned the run defense, kind of suspect or sus, as the kids would say.
Yeah, I don't want to downplay the win. It's a huge win, but
it was.
You got to talk about it realistically. One of the faults I had was the run defense needs work.
It does. Was there anything else you think might come back to haunt the Vikings later on down the road, or were you pretty happy other than the run defense? You're overall pretty happy with the way the Vikings play.
Oh, besides the run defense, I really didn't see anything else. They had some breakdowns in coverage, Ted. But that's going to happen with every team the first week of the season.
I think
especially if you're switching to a 4-3 to a 3-4, new scheme, Donatel, all that stuff. There's going to be some breakdowns in the secondary. One thing's for certain, Harrison Smith is a goddamn good football player.
He is.
He hits people, they go down. He runs that defense. When he we are fortunate to have him. Let's give it up for Jordan Hicks today. Great game from him. But I saw more things that were different than what we saw last year that made me more. We saw audibles from Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw that? When is the last time you saw an audible from that guy? Changing the play at the line of scrimmage. My God, everybody, that's a huge thing for a change in the culture. There was a lot more good than bad, Ted. The run defense was really my only complaint, but all the things you could stack on the good side, the pro side, I am very happy about the first game overall with what I saw today.
Chris, what I think we all agree the run defense, 118 yards, over 6 yards per carry, something they need to work on. But anything else that you thought needs to be looked at or emphasized this next week before Philly?
I mean, Ed Ingram had a little bit of a rough go in his first NFL start. I think he gave up a couple of sacks and kind of got run over a couple of times. But, as he's out there and gets more repetitions and more opportunities, that's going to fix itself, I think. But, the run defense, like Drew said, is probably the big one. And, if the Vikings can get the run defense straight around, and that's going to be tested next week in Philadelphia for sure. But, I think that's the big one. And, the cornerback depth is a little worrisome because, Andrew Booth Jr. went out early with a quad injury, and then there was a few plays where Cameron Dancer was out, and all of a sudden you're down to like corner 5 and corner 6. and whatnot. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. But I think a lot of this stuff is going to work itself out.
Yeah, I think so too. If there's something that was maybe troublesome, and I thought maybe troublesome in the first half, that I thought the Vikings did a good job of addressing or correcting the second half. Kenny Clark felt like he was really getting on track. He was disrupting things up the middle. I think he had a couple sacks, and it looked like the Vikings were sort of starting to lose control of the line of scrimmage.
Right.
I thought in the second half, and I'll have to go back and rewatch this game to make sure, but it felt like the Vikings corrected that problem in the second half, and there wasn't that much of an issue. But Minnesota, that's something that the Vikings are going to need to look at and address before their Monday night game in Philly.
Well said. That's well said.
Yeah, I agree.
I think, man, the problems are a lot less evident now than they were at the end of last year. I can tell you that. I mean, there's guys rallying to the football today. There's guys that the whole team looked more confident. And like you said in the onset of this show, Ted, they came out more intense than they have in a long time. They came out ready to play. That first drive, they were not going to be turned away. They were not going to be turned away.
And it was interesting to see, scripted plays. The Vikings generally did pretty good on their first 15, 20 scripted plays. And it was interesting to see how the Vikings would adjust after their scripted plays. Their opening drive, that was football porn, man. That was just absolute. You're like, whoa, that was just beautiful. And then things sort of settled into this, time to make adjustments and kind of try and outsmart each other. But I thought, yeah, in our preview, every Friday, Drew and I go through the big board, and one of the categories we talk about is coaches, and we both gave the coaching check to Matt LaFleur because we were wrong 39-10 in his first 3 years. Is it wrong to say Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings outcoached Matt LaFleur and the Packers today?
Not wrong to say at all, because that's what happened.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty.
No.
One of the things that's a good segue into one of the things I wanted to mention. I had in my notes is a couple times they showed. And I've talked about this with both you guys in the group over the last month. I hope we're not too soft. I hope we're not too easygoing. There was a couple camera shots where O'Connell was mad. He was angrier than shit walking up and down the sideline.
He was.
And you could see him screaming into that microphone that something wasn't right. I love seeing that, guys. I love it because that's the details of the game we don't talk about.
No.
It's better than seeing your coach on the sidelines going.
Yeah.
Just
and looking,
arms crossed.
Right.
Adjusting.
A couple times they showed O'Connell. He's marching up and down like he's going yeah. I noticed that kind of stuff. He was angry.
He was involved.
Something happened with a penalty or something, and he was pissed. And I'm going, good. That's what we need to see. That's what the team needs to see. If my head coach is pissed, he's taking it seriously. So that was really a good sign for me. I loved seeing that.
All right. Now, I want to talk about the rest of the NFC North in a second. But before we do that, we're going to give away two prizes. We're going to give away a prize now. And then when we're done talking about the rest of the NFC North and a quick Eagles preview, we'll do a prize at the end of the show. Ruby, if you are ready, go ahead and pull up the wheel of Toonsis and spin it and let us know who the winner is. And whoever the winner is, all you need to do, Ruby will put the email address in the chat here. Just email Ruby at VikingsReportWithDrewandTed@gmail.com. She'll send you a link to the Vikings Report prize.
That is a bitchin' wheel right there.
All right, here we go.
Rip. Let's go. Noise and everything, Ted.
I love it. Love it. Raymond Hoagland.
There's a guy that's been with us since literally day one.
I was going to say Raymond has been with us since day one. So Raymond, congratulations on winning the first prize of Vikings Report Rewind for the year.
Good man. Good man, Raymond.
Congrats. So the rest of the NFC North, it was an absolute pea shooter shootout between Justin Fields and Trey Lance.
What happened in that game, man? What happened in that?
A hurricane. That's what happened. I mean, it looked like by mid third quarter that the Bears and the 49ers were playing in Lake Michigan.
You can't lose to the Bears opening week.
And as if the turf at Soldier Field isn't just garbage enough as it is, dump a couple million gallons of water on it and see what happens. Yeah, that was bad.
Terrible. That's just the worst stadium in the NFL. I can't believe the Bears have waited this long to buy land in the suburbs and get out of the city just because Soldier Field sucks.
You got to admit, that's a big win for them, though. They're happy as shit right
Absolutely
now.
huge, yeah.
Niners are thinking that's an odd. Every Niner fan in the world's thinking we're going 1-0 at least.
Yep.
And they blow it.
And so the Bears kind of pull the upset and win 19-10. The Lions were getting their clocks cleaned by Philadelphia, like 31-14 at one point. And the game ended up 38-35. Philly won, but Lions didn't show any quit. They came back and played some inspired football, but still fell. So after 1 week, we got the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears on top of the NFC North at 1-0, and the Green Bay cram it up your cram hole LaFleur Packers are 0-1. Love it. Love it.
I love it too. I love it. I love not only that we beat them, that they're angry about that we beat them. There's a bunch of dissension and stuff going on, Ted.
Yeah.
The plane ride home is going to be guys pointing fingers at each other.
Somebody's going to get knifed on that plane ride home.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, and like I wonder how many survivor pools the Chicago Bears ruined today. I mean, I know ours that we do with the site. I think a lot of people took San Francisco as their pick today because I thought it was going to be an easy one. But yeah, I think they've ruined a lot of people's survivor pools today, to be honest.
Did that Trey Lance guy play? Was that?
He did. He started. He played the whole game.
Oh, there's a big controversy is swirling now.
Yep.
Yeah, Jimmy G by week 4.
Yep.
Jimmy G's going to be playing by week 4.
That's funny.
I mean, I could give Trey Lance a pass today because the conditions were just atrocious. But Justin Fields wasn't any good either. So if you have two fairly equally bad quarterbacks, the better football team should have won. And I think the 49ers a better football team, and they didn't. So we'll see what happens.
I like being in first place. What do you guys think?
It doesn't stink.
It doesn't. No. It doesn't.
I think someone said in the comments here that we are tied for the fewest points allowed in week 1 so far with Miami, who also only gave up 7. So yeah,
you got to think somewhere in his ranch in Kentucky, Mike Zimmer's just pissed off.
Is it in Kentucky? Is that where he?
Yeah, it's a nice place too. but like he's just pissed off. This new guy comes in and takes my players and makes them look good. I couldn't be happy. I could not be happier.
What about the people that have gone to bat for Zimmer over the course of the last? They're not going to bat. Nobody's going to bat anymore. If you're going to bat now, you're on meth. Because there's no reason you should think Zimmer should be the coach of this team.
I think everybody just needs to shut the hell up and get on the Kevin O'Connell bandwagon.
That is damn straight. What a win!
It was an impressive opening day, game 1 win for Kevin O'Connell. You could have started. I don't think, at least through that first half, I don't think you could have scripted. I don't think Hollywood could have scripted a better opening for Kevin O'Connell to start his NFL head coaching career.
How can we not be the most impressive team from today? Tell me. How could we not? The Vikings are the most impressive. All the talking heads, ESPN, NFL Network, Colleen Wolfe, Orlovsky, we got to be the talk of the NFL because we didn't just beat some schlub team. We beat the Packers.
I will say I saw on social media. I obviously didn't see the Fox postgame show because we jumped on here right away. But apparently somebody said that the Fox folks came back from our game being over or whatever, and Minnesota beats the Packers 23-7, and the talk immediately shifted to what Green Bay could do to improve. Not that the Vikings beat Green Bay and
what Green Bay could what? I didn't hear you.
What Green Bay could do to improve.
They can kiss my ass.
Okay.
No, it's about Green Bay.
No. Here's the thing. Let them think that. Let them think today was just a fluke. Let them think the Vikings just it's just a fluke. New coach, home opener, first week of the season, everybody's all in. Let them think it. Let the Vikings keep flying under the radar, because whenever the Vikings seem to fly under the radar is the years they seem to do very, very well. So let them think that. I don't care.
No, absolutely.
Don't care at all.
I agree.
What can the Packers do? Like, they messed it up. Like, no credit to us how we played.
No.
Don't
Never.
you know, Justin Jefferson, that was all luck.
Yeah. Yeah. He just got opened by happenstance. It had absolutely nothing to do with scheming or ability or anything else, whatever.
Can I talk for 30 seconds about Justin Jefferson?
You sure can.
Go for it.
You know, guys, when we had a guy named Chris Carter here, who I love Chris Carter, I thought to myself, we are never going to get anything better than Chris Carter. I actually thought that way about Johnny Gilliam back in 70 when we had him. And we got Chris Carter and Anthony Carter. And then Randy Moss strolled into town. And I thought, man, I have never seen a player like this. This guy's the greatest receiver we're ever going to have. Well, Ted, once again, the question has risen in my mind. Justin Jefferson, could it be happening again? Could it be that guy? I don't want to say he's better than Randy Moss, but I'm saying I went Carter to Moss, and now I'm doing it again. That guy is an amazing player. I love watching him play, and I looked at Toonses today when he made that third down, like 20-yard catch when he jumped up. In the fourth quarter, he made that third down catch, and I said, we are watching something very special. So gather it all in.
That catch, that going way up and getting it and grabbing the first down and keeping that drive alive, that was one of the most clutch catches in that part of the game that the Vikings, it was a play the Vikings usually don't make. It's a play they almost always need, but they usually don't make.
Exactly right. 100%.
He did.
So I just wanted to say that. It kind of reminds me of,
fantastic.
Passing the torch, it's like there's something about that guy. There's something special about that guy.
No, there's been so many great receivers that have come through this football team over the years, and not even like the number one guys most of the time. I mean, you look, Chris Carter had Jake Reed, Anthony Carter had Hassan Jones, and all these great receivers have come through Minnesota. I mean, the guys like Carter and Moss and now Jefferson get the focus and whatnot, but there's been so many great receivers that have come through this football team over the years. I don't know if there's a franchise in Meade history that's had just consistent receiver play on the level that the Vikings have had over their history with guys like who we just talked about.
That's well said. Very well said.
So Vikings start off 1-0. Packers start off 0-1 for the second year in a row. They got, I don't know if you guys remember, they got absolutely throttled by New Orleans at home last year, but
they got their tits licked by New Orleans. It was like 34-0 or something, wasn't it?
Yep. Something like that.
But then they went off and I think they won 7 or 8 straight after that loss. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight before they lost again. So, but this win felt different to me as a Vikings fan. Last few minutes, it just felt different. It's the Vikings, like I said earlier, did things to win this game that they normally don't do. I mean, they usually get lucky, but very rarely do they pretty much dominate a team from the opening kickoff to the final gun.
Right.
And with the exception of a drive here or a play there, the Minnesota Vikings completely took care of business and had the game in hand pretty much the whole afternoon. It was one of the more impressive Vikings victories that I can remember in recent memory.
No, absolutely. I mean, just from start to finish, they were the better football team on both sides of the ball. I don't really know how you make an argument against that. I mean, Kirk Cousins completely outplayed Aaron Rodgers. The defense completely outclassed Green Bay's defense. I mean, I don't know how anybody could argue that the Vikings aren't the better team, honestly.
It was impressive. I mean, Jefferson with 188 yards and 2 touchdowns today. I mean,
wow.
He's on pace for what, 3,200 yards?
Somebody sent me an email
TDs
and said that his first half yardage total was a Vikings record.
Yep.
Really?
I was sent that. I don't know if I haven't confirmed that yet, but
no, the Vikings PR folks put that out. I think he had like 155 in the first half, and I think they said that was a record.
Nice plan, Green Bay. Nice plan to shut him down.
Wow.
Idiots.
All right. One other, and somebody mentioned this in the comments. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Adrian Peterson had his boxing career debut last night, and he got his dick knocked in the dirt by Le'Veon Bell.
Has he
Did he get knocked out?
Yeah.
He did? He got knocked out?
Yeah.
So he didn't just lose a decision. He got like KO'd.
He got knocked out so bad when he regained consciousness, he saw Chris Tucker standing over him. It was that bad.
Le'Veon Bell treated Adrian Peterson like Adrian Peterson treated his kids. Bam, 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 bam.
Oh, my God.
Down for the count.
Damn, Ted Glover is running on. Oh, we got to give out a prize on that.
Yeah, we do.
That's
so
worth the
you ready
prize.
to give out one more prize?
Let's give out a mug. I got all these mugs behind me. Let's give out a Viking mug.
Oh, really?
Who wants a mug? Nobody? Okay, then.
I mean, I got one already, so
look at how shiny and beautiful. Look at Ted's face in that mug.
Get my mug on your mug. Ruby, you ready to roll out the wheel one more time and give a prize before we get out of here?
Yep, here we go.
All righty.
iTunes says.
Alrighty.
Love that sound. Spin the wheel, Vanna.
Ryan Gillen.
Ryan Gillum, congratulations. I think you just won a Vikings report, Drew and Ted.
Didn't he sing for
Mug.
Deep Purple? Ryan Gillen?
No, that was John Gillen.
Ian Gillen.
All right. Look, so the Vikings roll. The Kevin O'Connell era opens with a rousing, convincing 23-7
Suck
Vikings
it, LaFleur.
victory.
Suck
Vikes
it, LaFleur. Come on, guys. LaFleur didn't want to hear the horn and all that. You know, fuck, that guy's a dick.
Cramming up your cram hole, LaFleur. The Vikings are over 500 for the first time since the end of 2019. It's all shiny, happy people, unicorns, and rainbows here in the land of 10,000 lakes. Chris, final thoughts on today's win.
I said it at the start of the show that this game was fun to watch. I mean, you go into, every Packers week, you got to have a little bit more, because it's a rivalry and you wonder how it's going to go and whatnot. But this one was fun to watch. I mean, the Vikings started off fast and they were the better team for 60 minutes today. I don't know how anyone could question that. And yeah, we start the Kevin O'Connell era off with a victory, and now we're on to Philadelphia next week.
Drewster,
Ted,
Drew,
Ted,
Drew.
The gloom is gone, Ted.
It is, baby.
It's long gone. We may lose the next 6 straight, but tonight we are partying.
That's right.
That was a great game. Like Chris said, last time it was fun to watch a Vikings game where we're not stressed out going, oh my God, what are we doing?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Hats off to Kevin O'Connell. Getting that first win is not easy. And getting that first win against a quality team is certainly not that easy. He made some calls today where he went out on a limb, but you know what, Ted? That's where the good fruit is, out on a limb. If you don't go out on a limb, you're not going to get the good fruit. So
hang on. Let me write this down. Good fruit. Hey, if you don't go out on a limb, you're not going to get the good fruit. I don't know what it is. We'll rewind it, but that's a phrase that's going to become Vikings Report lexicon. Good fruit out on the limb, baby.
Sometimes you got to go out on the limb to get the good fruit. And Kevin O'Connell, hats off to him today. Congrats for him today to get that first win for the Vikings. This whole team has turned around and people still don't believe. We don't need you to believe. We just need you to watch the games because things are different. Things are different. And what a day. What a day today. What a win. That's a great win for Vikings fans.
Absolutely.
Celebrate tonight, people. Celebrate.
All right. So Vikings are 1-0. Tough game next week on Monday night at Philadelphia against the Eagles. Drew and I will be in studio. Our Eagles preview will air Friday morning at 10. Monday night at the conclusion of the Eagles-Vikings game. We will be there live. Christopher's going to join us. Ruby's going to join us. Drew and I will be there for Vikings Report Rewind. Again,
you guys stay up that late? You guys going to be able to make it?
I usually don't, but I will for you. I'll drink some Diet Coke with caffeine or something.
No, you won't.
Figure something out.
You'll get
Ted's going to have to take Tuesday off, but that's okay.
I probably will. That's not a bad idea, actually. But look, everybody who was in the chat room tonight, thanks so much for joining us. Well, I'll do better to try and get to some of your comments next week. Week 1, hey, it was preseason for us too. Ruby, thanks so much for putting this all together and getting all online and getting the show up and running. For Christopher, for Drew, for Ruby. This has been Vikings Report Rewind. Thanks so much for joining in. We will see you next Monday night. Skol Vikings.